Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 25th, 2022 at approximately 6:34 a.m. PST. I thought things were taking a turn for the better, and then some genius turns around and turns this world completely upside down. On the one hand, it's a good thing that, COVID is slowly being moved into the background. But as always, not always, but as usual, somebody out there has decided that it's not a good thing to have peace on the planet. We gotta have some sort of conflict, it would seem. Now, I don't personally understand the functional reason for it. I know what causes it. For the last several centuries, mankind has been taught to fear. To fear virtually everything. Now, before I get into it, a couple of things. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and spread this message out to everybody in existence. Please. I returned to this world for one primary purpose, to spread one simple message. And that is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, before I get into the real topic today, told you I was going to get these checked. To get my eyes checked. Well, I found out some really interesting things for me. The eye doctor told me, or at least this is what I heard, your eyes are... Now, when I went in, I told them that first and foremost, I'm able to take a book, like take a novel, right, and hold it this close to my face without any problem, and read what's in it. I told him that. And then I told him that that's without my glasses on. That even with my glasses, that my eyes were having trouble periodically with the computer. Other than that, my long distance was shot, right? I knew I had to have glasses to drive. Well, after all the testing, here's what he came back with. Your eyes are improving. Your eyes are getting worse. You can see fine. The glasses you've got work perfectly for reading off the computer. And you need better glasses for reading novels and what have you, for reading actual books. So I walked out of there going, now why, pray tell, did I go to talk to this guy? Normally everything's been fine. He's been doing really well. But on this particular occasion, I'm looking at this going, why did I go to the eye doctor? Because what he told me, the only thing that he told me that was functional was that apparently these are reading glasses, which may explain my problem with long distance. So will I have to go and get a pair of distance glasses for more comfortable driving? Yes. But this, again, is one of these interesting little financial things. Now, this is why professional things. And this is why I tell you, don't take my word for it. When a professional tells you something, double check your information. Don't just take my word for it. I've been working on my income tax like most of you have. And the sad part about it, from my end, I went on medical disability for a bad leg, apparently back in 1986. I've never once, until last year, I've never once received medical benefit. That I've apparently been on. Never had it. All these years, since 1986, nobody has caught this up. And when I went and looked into my income tax the other day, just yesterday, day before, I went in and found out some really remarkable things. Like as you know, I've got a child with a case of mild CP, cerebral palsy. So he too is on medical disability. But here's the silly thing. Since 2013, I have only, if we ignore last year, which was 2020, which was when I found out, sorry, it was 2021, but it was a 2020 income tax. Then I found out, that's where I found the problem out. But here's the silly thing. Every year from 2019 back to 2013, okay, I've had three different accountants. Okay, three different professionally trained accountants doing my income tax. I never did it on my own. I've always turned it over to so-called professionals. With three different ones, I've never had, until 2020, I've never had both my son and myself counted on the disability. Okay, it's alternating. It's not even missed one and skip and went the whole time. It's like 2 years I was on disability, I had the disability credit. 3 years he did, then another year I did, then another 2 years he did. You get the picture. Now, this is an issue as far as professionalism goes. Okay, what I've unfortunately found is that the professionals, the people that are supposed to be making the intelligent decisions, are really messing things up for me personally. Now, back to the issue at hand here. Okay, we have this problem. COVID's just starting to wind itself down. People are starting to get onto the idea that this is a disease. It's a very bad disease. Okay, but society has to get moving. And here's what's happened. And I do contribute this myself very clearly to the amount of stress caused by the way that the whole situation with COVID was handled. The added stresses around the countries have caused this, have amplified this added problem. They've exacerbated the situation. Now we're not dealing with just the COVID problem. Now we're dealing with war. Okay. And more countries are getting involved. Now, I still cannot stress enough communication and not gunfire is the way to bring peace about. Gunfire will bring about quiet, but the amount of innocent life that is going to be lost in this conflict is almost incalculable. Okay, same as the amount of physical damage. And it's not the people that are standing there going, we need to go to war. Because they're sitting behind a desk, behind armored walls, etc., and telling everybody else to go to war. Now, as I've said multiple times, I am a very staunch supporter of any country, of any people in any country that decide to join the military to defend their country, to defend their families. I absolutely support you. The decisions being made at the top, on the other hand, I really question. Now, we're given free choice. We're given free will. Everybody's got it. Whether there's laws in place that say you shouldn't have it, people have that ability. Okay, and this is where things have gotten to now. We've let fear get out of hand. Okay, we've let fear and greed really take dominant control, and this is not going to work well. It's not going to end well. It's not going to start well, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So when we take a look at the professionals that are making these decisions, you have to start questioning, are they making the right decision? If not, this is the time to really band together, to talk to your neighbors, to find out what they're thinking. And for those of you that are in a position of power, a position where you've got a surplus, okay, absolutely, I'm asking you to reach out and help the ones that don't. This idea of bombing a country that has no functional defensive structure, is it's just absolutely insane in my eyes. This leads down the same road that we've gone down so many times. Okay, it leads down the road to devastation. Now, Rome used to do this all the time. Oh, we want that chunk of land, so we're going to go take it. Okay, and there will be all kinds of comments you see. Now, something to keep in mind. If you're watching mainstream media, you can bet your bottom dollar that they are not just reporting what's going on. You can bet your bottom dollar that there is money changing hands to determine what stories are leaked. However, when you watch live broadcasts and live postings and what have you on the social media, these people, yes, the major companies could absolutely, pardon that, the major social media moguls could absolutely be controlling some of the flow, but they're not going to stop at all. Okay. Again, regardless of where you're seeing it, check your facts. Because I will tell you, with the social media videos coming out, much as they are more revealing, in my opinion, than many of the professional of the big colossal corporations that are reporting, there is information being missed. There is stuff that is being overlooked. So double check your stats. Double check your facts. Make sure that what you're seeing is something that adds up. There is way too much fear going on. Way too many complications that people are buying into. For those of you that are involved in the higher echelons of the spiritual movement, of the religions, of the spirit, of the covens, of all of these groups, it's time to start putting your differences aside and pointing out the similarities between people. Now, it was brought to my attention. One person told me flat out, you know, don't you care that orphans are being killed? And the reality is, and I don't expect people to understand this, orphans are, people, it's a terrible thing to kill kids. Absolutely. It's also a terrible thing to kill adults. Okay. You don't have to agree with me. Some of you are undoubtedly looking at this going, oh, the Russians are doing this or the Germans are doing this or whatever it is. I don't watch modern news. I just don't. Okay. But you may be looking at what the US is doing, what Canada's doing, and going, this is wrong. Or you may be going, yeah, this is the right move. But look at the other side of it. What is actually happening here? Is this war, has war ever brought peace? Okay, they said World War II was the war to end all wars. Bad news, wasn't. Okay, until man starts, and I do mean men, women, children, until people start communicating with each other and realizing that there are way more similarities between people than there are differences. Until we start focusing on that, we're going to continue having problems. Okay. Now, I did say I saw on the social media that there were many changes that were taking place that were looking really positive. They were looking really beneficial. And they are. Okay, we just happen to have another conflict going on that, quite frankly, did not have to happen. Now, do not get me wrong. I'm not saying the people stepping in to help the Ukraine out, to defend the Ukraine, I'm not saying they're doing a bad thing. Okay, but the question remains as to what they're going to do with it. Once they get this stopped, are they going to continue the war further? Okay, or is this going to become an even bigger problem? Now, the reality is, and I've got to believe there are more people alive today that desire peace than there are that desire war. Now, let's understand something here. Okay, turning the other cheek is a great idea. Don't go getting dizzy. Depending on who you talk to, most people only have two cheeks. Some people think they've got four. Okay, and realistically, by definition, Most people do have 4. But turn the other cheek did not, when that comment was made, it did not mean stand there and turn in circles. Okay. You've got to start looking at what feels right to you. Are you, or the people around you for that matter, are you following karmic law? Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay. If you're following those 3 laws, absolutely stay on it. It will, in the long run, work. This does not mean this is going to be an easy transition. Okay. But it does mean that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But it's absolutely imperative that we start working with the communication lines. We start getting things working so we come to understand each other's outlook. There are so many things you can look at that people have in common. Okay. I mean, I talked to one person a few years ago and pointed out that, this thing, when we take a look at this whole fear base, okay, virtually every religion follows the same fear base. So do most parents. Okay. This is just an absolute problem. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. Okay, rest assured, if I was perfect, I wouldn't be stuck where I am. But at least I've looked in the mirror and gone, this is where my shortfalls are. Okay. Do I care about the fact that the world is in a conflict right now? Absolutely yes. Do I feel that gunfire is going to solve the problem? No. Now, before you jump on that, understand, pulling the military support out of the war-torn area right now, when you're looking at support being defend the innocent people, pulling them out would be absolutely a bad move. Okay. Am I going to go over there and carry a gun? They won't give me one. Something about epileptics and automatic weapons. Okay, but do I believe that people need support, need help? Absolutely. But it's imperative that we realize that once this problem has been stopped, do not retaliate. It doesn't end well. Okay. When everything's starting to go into a mess, okay, it took it took centuries to straighten out. This mess that we're going through right now, if you thought COVID was causing a problem, for the world, certainly. But now, on top of having the COVID problem come out and beat the heck out of people, now we have a problem where this war is taking those worn out people, those people that have been fighting to try and turn things around. And all of a sudden, on top of that, sections of the world right now are immersed in conflict that is costing way more lives. Right, it's destroying property all over the place. And for me, it's also causing massive damage to the world. Okay, for me, that's a big issue. Am I a member of Greenpeace or anything like that? No. Okay, I'm not. This is what I mean by I became very reclusive a long time ago. But we have to realize the communication when you're looking at what you're being told to do, when you're looking at being told what to fear, make sure it makes sense to you. Fear has never been known for making sound decisions. And that's what this world is now evolving and devolving into. Is a world based on decisions made based on fear. Okay. And it's not working well. The outcome is not going to be good. Okay. I cannot tell you the amount of people involved that are going to be involved. But I can tell you, adding one more person to this problem is not the way to handle it. Okay. And do I have an absolute solution? Well, I do, but I will tell you this, and this is why. Because remember, I'm going to sneeze here. Well, my apologies for that. Do we have, is this war that's going on going to end well? No. Okay, it will end, but it will not bring peace. Especially if people are looking at this going, well, they hurt me, now I'm going to go and hurt them. Pain begets pain. This is a horrendous thing going on right now, but I caution you and I urge you, and I did the same thing. Sadly for me, I remember my past lives. I had this same message to people when I was in Rome. Do not retaliate. Bring this conflict to an end as quick as you can, regardless of what side of the war you're on. Okay, this is not a question of one side being right, one side being wrong. This is a question of war itself does not end the way people think. Many of you, not quite as many as before, but many of you have seen war. Okay, have seen horrendous wars. There's a few of you that are still left from the Second World War, the one that was supposed to be the war to end all wars. Got news for you, it wasn't. The war to end all wars is the one fought right here and right here. The war between your heart and your head. And as it was put to me, when your heart and your head are in conflict, follow your heart, but use your head to get there. Above all else, follow those 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, it is time for this world to wake up and start really communicating with each other regarding what the similarities are, what the positive connections are, what we all can bring to the table. And I do encourage those of you that are in a position to help other people, absolutely step forth, step out of the shadows, and start helping. Okay. My message, the reality is, I build myself as a spiritual guide for one reason. The tools that I offer are the same tools that I personally am using. Okay, if they apply to me, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm doing my best to use them. The philosophies I speak about are the philosophies of life, and for that matter, the philosophies of death that I personally follow. Okay, they are what is turning my life around. This is how I find things out. And of course, now having talked to my accountant this year, I've got things set in motion to get everything moving in the right direction next year. I've got an appointment to go and get it set in motion, which means I'm just about done with it. But, I'm just about done with my income tax stuff. And if you haven't done it, check your own country, okay? There are deadlines for when income tax, if you've got it in your country, have to be paid. Okay, they've got to be finished. Now, there's all sorts of things that I could say about that, but my big issue right now is this war that has broken out. Okay, I'm waiting, from my standpoint, I'm waiting to see if Esau does anything. Esau is who most of you call Earth, Mother Earth, Gaia. These are all names that refer to her. Okay, I was told by her that her actual name is Esau. Okay. And if I remember, there's a cousin of hers, another planet, but I believe his name is Krita. Okay. I don't deal with just humans. Okay. I have been working in the consulting field since I was 10. As far as publicly goes. Professionally, as in generating an income, since 1986. Okay. So, in other words, bearing in mind I'm just about 59 here, that means I've been doing this for almost 49 years. And that puts me dealing with people with personal concerns, with business concerns, with issues around spirituality, around UFOs, aliens. I don't think there's a topic I haven't ended up dealing with. And this does not mean I know everything about every topic. As a matter of fact, I flat out don't. But if you ask me a question that I don't know the actual functional answer to, I will do my best to point you in the right direction. I've only in my entire life lied to somebody to make them feel better once, and that was with a very explicit request on their part. Now, this war that we're going through right now is causing even more communication complications. Okay, now there are ways of solving this problem, but it starts by putting guns down, and that goes to both the aggressors and the defenders. Okay, now as I'm sure you're aware, where it comes to the conflict itself, putting guns down before the bullets stop might be a little counterproductive, but somebody's got to start slowing down on the use of the ammo. Somebody's got to start talking, even if it's to those people standing beside you. Those of you that are on the front lines. Absolutely, talk to your friends, but really look at the issue of, aside from somebody shooting at you, what is the difference, or more to the point, what are the similarities? Why are those people in their position as compared to why you're in yours? It is not as black and white as you've been led to believe. Okay, the reality is things are seldom as simple as you're led to believe. But whoever you are following, whoever you are listening to, question what is being said. This war has got to come to an end. We don't want this one running for another 6 years, or at least I sure don't. Okay, World War II was an horrendous disaster. Okay, and as I said, this is no offense to the people that joined the military. I do question the decisions that the people in the upper echelons on both sides are making. Okay, because war does not bring peace. War brings quiet, but that is not the same as peace. Communication is what will bring peace. Now, on that note, I'm going to bring this to a close because we're at the half-hour mark here. So, I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive